frame is built out of industrial grade aluminum, and if you can see the glass beautifully merging into that frame, it just looks like one whole unibody device. The glass that I'm talking about is a 3D curved glass, and even at the back is protected by Corning's Gorilla Glass 5. And this glass is curved. It's a 3D curved glass, but the curvature changes ever so slightly when you get to the bottom. Again, to match that frame and of course give you that great hand feel. While we've used premium materials, what we did was another engineering marvel. If you look at, again, equivalent phones that have used materials like this, say the OnePlus 7 Pro or the XS Max, what they've not been able to do is manage the weight. It becomes unwieldy to hold after some time. For example, the OnePlus 7 Pro is at 206 grams, while the XS Max is 208 grams. Now, without compromising on the build quality, without compromising on the materials, we managed to get the K20 Pro at just 191 grams. This makes it the lightest true full-screen flagship in the market today. And not just that, obviously it's built well and looks stunning. We made these subtle design changes. For example, around the camera, you've got this holographic ring accent. Looks absolutely brilliant. Or the iconic red button. And this red button is actually going through all our variants. It looks absolutely stunning, and especially on the blue one, the red and blue or the red and black looks absolutely phenomenal. Along with that, we made some more changes. For example, LED notification light. Yes, we are a flagship and we still have a LED notification light, and it comes in like no other. So you've got a very unique LED notification light up top. So talking about the build quality, aluminum industrial grade frame, you've got a curved Corning Gorilla Glass 5 at the back with slightly different curvature. It's a 3D overall, and you've got accents like the holographic ring or the power button. And all of this has been designed along with the weight that I spoke about to give you that ergonomic fit. Over time, our designers have been thoughtfully working towards getting you that perfect hand feel, and that's what you get with a K20 Pro. Now that's about ergonomics. Let me get into the next color. Now that is the flame red. Do you guys like it? Blue or red? All I heard was bread. All right. For you guys who must be wondering, how is this happening? How is this dynamic pattern working? Let me show you this one. Now, this is, again, very thoughtfully designed. And this happens with 6 different layers coming in and how the light plays off it. Of course, right at the top, you saw the 3D curved glass pack, which is a Corning Gorilla Glass 5. But underneath that, you've got the gradient color and the holographic layer playing together. And this is what's giving you those different patterns flying in, right? And the bottom one is also really important because this is the reflective layer that puts that light back. What does it all mean? And focus on the last one because the phone looks very different under low light. So in dim light, it looks like a really good gradient design coming in. But when you have harsher light, when you have a stronger light, it completely changes. And you start seeing that flame coming in. As you move that light around, these flames almost seem alive. And that starts looking extremely different to anything else that you've seen before. In fact, the device in itself looks really stunning. So here's an image of the flame red. This is a camera shot image. It's not a 3D render. And as you can see, the flame pattern's really shining through. So it's all the 6 layers working together to give you a design like no other. But not just the red, even the blue, I agree, looks stunning. And the blue also plays really well with different lights. So when you move that light around, you start seeing this entire pattern emerging. Now these, as you could probably understand, the glacier blue and the flame red are inspired by the fire and ice design. But for the very first time on any of our devices, we are also having a second design philosophy. And this is slightly different from the fire and ice, and we are calling it inspired by carbon. Yes, finally some people were black. So this one is my personal favorite. It still is a 6-layer design. That means under bright light, you start seeing this depth to this Kevlar pattern. It looks absolutely stunning, but of course, in my opinion, I think it's the classiest. Manu and Raghu are on the red and blues, so we'll see what happens later. But this is not a regular Kevlar pattern. It's slightly different. What we've done is, we've taken the standard Kevlar pattern that our friends over at Poco use, and then we've added a Mark Newson pattern, giving you a very different effect, unlike any pattern that you would have seen with Kevlar designs or Kevlar phones. And this obviously gives you a lot more premium aesthetic, as well as a very understated design. What you would also notice is some things have changed compared to the fire and ice design. For example, the camera is now red, and that red matched with black looks absolutely stunning. The power button is also red, so it all goes well together. So, 3 colors, 2 philosophies, all coming into one alpha flagship. You've got the flame red, glacier blue, and the carbon black, all looking incredible together. Now, from a design perspective, one is how it looks, or how the phone itself looks. The other part about design is, when you look at the phone, what you see. And that is also part of the Aura Prime design. And for the first time ever, we are introducing an AMOLED display on a Redmi device. And we are calling this the Horizon AMOLED display. Right? It's a bit more than just a regular AMOLED. It is the true full screen experience. There are no notches, there are no holes, there are no obstructions to your viewing experience. It goes completely edge to edge in this incredible 6.39-inch full HD plus display. It is AMOLED, and we've pushed it all the way to the edges, giving you an incredible 91.9 screen to body ratio. How we've done this is also really great. We've got narrow bezels on the side. It's only 1.85 millimeter. On the top, it's a 2.1, and when we go at the bottom, it's just 3.8. Right? Making it the bare minimum bezels that you can have a phone with this technology without actually compromising on any structural integrity. The overall trade-off obviously is that what you get is absolutely incredible. With this amazing screen, what we've also got is theater-grade viewing experience. So the color gamut of this panel is actually the DCI P3 color gamut. It's more than NTSC, it's more balanced than the regular NTSC 100%. And this is something that was started off by the digital cinema initiatives in Americas. And now most of your feature films are using the DCI P3 color gamut. What that means is, when you're watching those movies on your phone, on your K20 Pro, you're going to see exactly how the movie maker intended you to see that movie. But not just that, you also have a very high brightness panel. This is 600 nits. This is the brightest panel that we've ever put on a phone. And both of these combined give you an incredible overall viewing experience. And we decided to top it off even further. We also have HDR support on the K20 Pro. So whether you're viewing content or you're playing games, it has all of this. And I guess I can see a couple of faces. Yes, Netflix is supported. You do have the Widevine L1 support, which should be coming in on Friday morning on the K20 Pro. So all your favorite games and content have the HDR support coming in. And for the uninitiated, of course, I'm assuming most of the Mi fans know the HDR mode when it comes to gaming, right? So when you're playing PUBG and you move to an HDR, If your phone supports it, you can see a lot more. The difference is actually quite stark. So this is without HDR and with HDR. Let me show you this side by side. And it starts making a whole lot of difference. Again, I'm going to go back to gaming. So imagine you are here and you're gaming, and this is the final circle. For the gamers who know what the final circle means, and there are a lot of snakes in the grass. Not literal snakes, but obviously people kind of crouched. With HDR mode, chances that you will spot them is a lot more. When you go back to second generation Game Turbo and you put on the visual enhancements, chances that you'll see them is even higher. So you are actually getting a massive gaming advantage with this particular phone, with all of these optimizations coming in. It is AMOLED, so we decided to go a step further. And for the first time, we've got an always-on display on the K20 Pro. So right on the screen, without you having to touch the phone, you get the basic information as well as all the icons for your notification, so you know exactly if you need to pick up the phone or not. And when this was looking so good, we decided to take it one step further, and we added a system-wide dark mode. So your entire UI goes dark. Now, while we are at the screen part of it, we've also added a 7th generation in-screen fingerprint sensor. It's super fast, it's super accurate. We've increased the overall size of the fingerprint sensor so that chances of wrong taps is reduced. So from a Horizon AMOLED display perspective, you get a 6.39-inch Full HD Plus AMOLED display, which you can use to watch all your HDR content. Of course, it is a high brightness panel. It's about 600 nits. It is gentle on the eyes. You've got dark mode. You've got a reading mode certified by TUV. And of course, for those people who care, we also have DC dimming and an incredible 91.9 screen to body ratio. Now this obviously looks absolutely stunning, but this creates a bit of a problem for us. Right? Where do we put the front camera? And we decided to move the camera up. So again, for the very first time, we are moving the camera into a pop-up selfie, and that mechanism sits right on top. Now this camera obviously adds a bit more versus everyone else. My favorite feature of the pop-up camera has to be the CELS. What is CELS? The camera edge lighting system. This is the first in the world to have this. And of course, apart from looking really cool, it has one key functionality, is when you are taking a selfie, everyone in your group is automatically drawn to where the camera is. They automatically end up looking at the camera, and you get perfect selfies every time. You don't have to tell people where to look. So obviously it looks stunning as well, but because this was the first time ever that we had a moving part in any of our smartphones, we had to ensure that we had the best quality parameters. As Manu mentioned, quality is paramount for Xiaomi India, and with the pop-up camera, we had to be doubly sure of this. So the pop-up camera is tested for 300,000 times. That means if you're taking 100 selfies a day, it will last you more than 8 years. I think by the time we'll have K100. Now that's one part of it, right? That's the regular operation. What happens if you accidentally drop your K20 Pro while taking a selfie? It also has drop protection. It senses a fall from the gyroscope. It'll tell the CPU, which instructs the motor to withdraw the camera, and before it falls, you are safe. Now, in case you dropped it from a very low height and the camera didn't withdraw, we've put in another protection to it. The front camera lens is protected by sapphire glass, so you don't get those scratches. So amazing amount of engineering gone into this one moving part. So So of course you've got the sapphire lens, you've got a magnetic switch which detects accidental presses for the pop-up camera. Of course the gyroscope detects if it's getting a fall and retracts the camera, and it is tested for 300,000 cycles, ensuring that through the lifetime of the K20 Pro you will not face any problems with this one moving part. Now that's about the quality part of it. Of course, it is a brilliant camera. It is a 20 megapixel camera in the front with all the cool features that you expect from a Xiaomi flagship. So you've got AI scene detection, you've got AI portrait mode, and you also have something called a panorama selfie. So when you are standing with a huge group, you just move your phone around and you can capture the entire group in one shot. Now, when we were looking at this pop-up selfie camera, there's one more thing that we had to kind of solve for, and that is face unlock. Now, you do have the in-screen fingerprint sensor, but we've added the AI face unlock to this as well. Now, of course, the AI face unlock will have to have the pop-up camera rise. So that's why the in-screen fingerprint sensor is a 7th generation one, and that is the fastest way to unlock the device securely. Now this is from the front camera perspective. Let's move to the back, and that's where the fun starts. We've got AI triple camera, again a first for Redmi series in India. And these cameras are interesting actually. So you've got 3 cameras. However, there's been a little trend of sorts where you put triple camera, but one camera is pretty much not doing anything, right? You call it depth. We decided not to have that. Pretty much like in Xiaomi India, Manu has a job for everyone. For these cameras, each camera has a very critical job to do. Of course, the first one, or the primary camera, is a 48 megapixel camera, and this is Sony IMX586 that a lot of you already know. Has been absolutely loved on some of our devices. There's an additional 13 megapixel ultra wide angle camera, and this is wider than any other ultra wide cameras available in the market today. And we've added a third one, which is a telephoto. So you get incredible details as well as ultra wide mode, and if you need to go closer for portraiture, you also have a 8 MP. None of them are not doing anything, I guess. None of them are just depth sensors. But not just this. I mean, the camera system is a lot more complex than it. There are 3 cameras. Along with that, there's also a laser autofocus, right? And of course, you have the dual LED flash. And all of it works together to give you really different perspectives for every capture. So when you capture with the 48, or you capture with the 13 megapixel ultra wide, or you go closer to the subject with the 8 megapixel 2x telephoto, all of them gives you a very different result. Essentially, cameras are for the creative folks, and this lets you unleash that creativity in the best possible way. Let me talk a bit more on the 48. Now, this is the Sony IMX586. It is the highest resolution camera sensor available today, and if I can probably say that nobody knows 586 better than Xiaomi does. Right? We've got it on most amount of devices. And of course, we've been tuning it ever since we were one of the first few to launch this, and it's become even better. Now that 48 is combined with a f1.75 aperture lens, giving you incredible details. If you take a look at this particular image, right, the detailing is absolutely top-notch. You can see every window. You can actually count the floors on all of these buildings there. And this is the magic of 48. However, what's interesting is this is just a part of that 48. Captures a lot more. And of course, we know the advantage of having a high resolution camera sensor versus a 12 megapixel. Not only do you get more information, but you also get better clarity when you're pixel peeping and you're going really close. So you get that advantage with the 48 megapixel on the K20 Pro. But 48 megapixel is just not enough. Like I said, you need to know how to tune this. And we've done exactly that. If you compare it with other people carrying a similar sensor, let's take a look at this one, right? So you've got the OnePlus 7 Pro, which also has a 48 megapixel camera, and you've got the K20 Pro. You can start seeing that difference. Actually, if I go closer, you start seeing even more difference. If you think the flower is pixelated, it is by design, it's a Lego. But you can start seeing the difference in terms of the overall exposure it's able to kind of manage, and the colors. And this is where Xiaomi's enhanced AI as well as camera optimization really comes to the fore, and it stands out. Now that's the 48. I'm going to move on to the next camera, which is the 8 megapixel telephoto. And this comes really well in handy when you're going in for those portraiture shots, when you're trying to capture a subject like this one. And this 8 megapixel does an excellent job there. But not just that, suppose you're trying to take a picture of an object, it again shines. If you take a look at this particular image, right? And this one actually has been shot through one of our fans, Biswajit, who is part of the Mi Explorer program, and this is an absolutely brilliant image there. So thank you, Biswajit, wherever he is. When we look at telephotos, we also did a bit of a comparison here with the 10S as well as the 7 Pro. And let me go a little closer to show you the differences. Not only is the detailing and light on the face a lot better, but if you look at the crown, again, all that information that you can see on the K20 Pro is far ahead of the other two. So it does a much better job there. Now that's been the 48 megapixel main camera and the 8 megapixel telephoto. We've got a third one, and this one obviously is a magical camera lens. It's a 13 megapixel ultra wide. It's 124.8 degrees. It's wider than anything else out there, and of course lets you capture a lot more. Why do you need this? So for example, when you're taking a shot like this, right? Now this shot again was by Vivek. He was part of the Mi Explorer program. When you're taking a shot like this, camera's AI will automatically detect that this is a landmark, you're too close to it, and it will recommend you to move to the ultra wide mode. And when you move to the ultra wide mode, you see the entire picture. Right? So putting them side by side, of course, this 124.8 does a magical job when you're trying to capture these landmarks, when you're capturing a lot more information from that angle. And to move between each of these lenses, we made it super easy. So just plain UI gestures, pinch in or pinch out. It's really easy to kind of move between each of these lenses. There's also a visual indicator of 0.6, 1, and 2x. So it becomes really easy. From a camera perspective, we've also added a night mode. So you get that incredible 48 megapixel adding on to this night mode through a super pixel technology. And what you get along with that is laser autofocus. So fast focus even in the dark, which means you get incredible night shots like this one. Now, these are things that you've seen from Xiaomi in the past. There's one more new AI algorithm that I wanted to talk about, and that is called AI skyscaping. And this is quite incredible. Let me get into the images itself. Now this is an image that was taken in Pondicherry. It's at about 7 in the morning, right? So you see that beautiful mist coming into the land, and you've got a nice peaceful landscape happening at the back. Now with Xiaomi's AI engine, you actually can change the entire sky at one click. And that becomes the main sunlight mode. It's not just the sky, but if you notice, the entire lighting on the buildings, on the subject also changes. Look very carefully. I'm going to go into dusk. So it looks absolutely realistic. Now this is a lot of AI firepower coming in behind, but for us on the K20 Pro with that much performance, it happens in an instant. And of course, if you want to make it look really dramatic, you also have a sunset mode. Everything changes. The light on the buildings, the light on the subject, as well as, of course, the sky that you notice. So we are introducing this for the first time on the K20 Pro. the AI skyscaping. And of course, one more thing that Mi fans have loved, we're adding 960 frames per second slow motion. And at 960 frames per second, obviously what you see is a lot more. And along with that, you get 4K UHD recording at 60 frames per second. Now this is slightly different because all three cameras support 4K, not just one. You know, for the people who take videos, that is an ultimate expression of creativity. And by limiting you to just one lens, I think we will be holding you back. And that's why we made this exception. So whether you want to go closer or you want to take an ultra wide shot or just the regular, you get 4K 60 in all three. In fact, our team did exactly that. So they went out to this amazing state of Kerala and shot this video, all shot on the K20 Pro. Take a look.